Well, I want to welcome you to our show this evening and during this wonderful time of the year, this season of lights. And so we wanted to have KAren Swain here to share her wisdom and her love and her light with us. And KAren is a teacher of deliberate creation. KAren Swain activates, accelerates, acclimates, and accentuates the New World teachers, supporting the light weavers and difference makers, bringing in a new dawn of reality. KAren is one of Australia's foremost thought leaders and change agents, showing you the way to a happier, healthier, a more fulfilling and more connected, multi-dimensional life. Welcome, KAren. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Hey, Michael, how are you?
Okay, how are you?
Good to see you too.
What have you been up to lately? I mean, that's the first thing. How have you been? How are you coping in this time?
This time is an extraordinary time on Earth where I'm seeing globally what we've been talking about in the consciousness and spiritual communities for years and years and years, for 30 years. So, 20 odd years ago, and I was running consciousness groups at the Academy of Light. We were talking about how the world was ascending and the shift was happening. And now the shift has hit the fan. But I used to look out into life and not see anything changing. And we were having these discussions about how people are ascending and people are waking up and things are going to change and we're moving from fear to love. And as I looked out into life, I just saw more of the same, more people just on the treadmill, trying to make money, trying to survive. Yeah. And now there is stuff happening. So it is an exciting time on Earth. It's a challenging time on Earth for many, but awakening through all the many people that I've had on my show, Accentuate the Positive Media, awakening happens for most people, not everyone, through the contrast that they experience in their life. So for many, they've been hit by a truck and had an NDE, or had a disease and died, or had divorce. Patria King, a beautiful consciousness spiritual teacher here in Australia, calls it the 4 Ds: disease, divorce, death, and depression. So one of the 4 Ds sort of hits us, and then we start asking different questions about life. It stops being, how can I make money? How can I fall in love? How can I buy more shoes? And it starts being, why am I here? What's it all about? And that's what's happening. That's what's happening here on Earth at the moment. And it's exciting, don't you think, Michael?
Oh, no question. It brings to mind the question for me, and I'll pose it to you. Do you think that we as human beings always have to go through those 4 Ds? I mean, can we learn through joy?
Absolutely.
Can we learn through good experiences as well?
Absolutely. And I'm seeing that in the younger community, the starseeds, and many starseeds have taken on a lot of density and trauma because they're here to clean that up. As where my guides have said to me that when you turn up the light in a dirty house, you get to see all the dirt. And so planet Earth is a very dirty house, and the light is being turned up on planet Earth, and it's revealing and disclosing a lot of stuff that's been hidden and covert. So many of the starseeds that are here at the moment have come to clean up a lot of the dirt on planet Earth, a lot of the collective thought forms on they're coming into lineages where people are indulging in resentments and hatreds and jealousies, and as they take it on in their DNA structure, and they do the work, they do the healing work on themselves, they do it for their whole lineage, and they do it ultimately for humanity, because we are one, we are unified, we are a collective consciousness in a unified field of infinite possibility. But there are many that come in that aren't necessarily doing that, and they just know who they are, and they're doing their stuff, they're doing their thing. They're just happy, joyous, incredible, I know many of them, incredible light beings who know they're here to make a difference, and they don't go through the trauma in order to awaken. So my guides have said to me that this is where we're moving into, because we will continue to evolve as a human species well into the next era on planet Earth. So how does evolution happen if we don't have to go through trauma in order to awaken or in order to desire? So for many people, desire comes from knowing what you don't want. You identify what you do. So when you're sick, you say, I want to be well. And when you're lonely, you say, I want to feel unified. And when you're poor, you say, I want to be abundant. So evolution on this planet will happen more through, as we move into the next era and the new dimension, the next frequency, vibrational bandwidth, it'll happen through more curiosity and a loving heart and expanding on what is. So this is how a creative mind works. I remember my ex-husband was a chef, and he had these recipes that he would cook. And I would say to him, that's great, it tastes great, but wouldn't it be good to put this in instead? Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like you can expand on, you can help the recipe of life. You can expand on it, you can make it better. And that's how we can evolve. Like, this is great, but what else? Like, this is wonderful, but what else? And it's like creative thought that is answering problems that are not problems so much traumas, but what next?
Some people may not know what you mean by star seeds. Can you explain that?
Star seeds are people that identify being physically alive in different star systems. So they don't only think of themselves as human. They're more connected to their multidimensional selves. Planet Earth is a really hard school. And there are many planets and experiences that are much less hard than planet Earth. So it doesn't have as much polarity and contrast and trauma that we have on planet Earth. And most souls, all souls who are actually here on Earth have learnt about physical experience by being on other planets where it's a lot easier. So they don't indulge in the negative thought forms and energies and emotions that we do on planet Earth, and they don't get stuck in those habitual patterns. But starseeds are beings that are souls who have many lives in other dimensions and on other worlds, and they have come into this Earth experience to be a part of this shift, this huge time of awakening that's happening on our planet right now. And they're bringing with them their knowledge and their talents and their understandings of what it's like to be beyond being human. Oh, did you like that, Michael? Anyway,
that was very clever. My last question to you is, and that was wonderful. Thank you. It was just for the sake of people who may not be clear on what that means. What is your beyond Christmas message? What can you leave us with? Some words of wisdom, some insights as we go on and close out 2021 and go into 2022.
Well, the beyond message is really what I've been talking about, is really getting in touch with who you are as a multidimensional aspect of the Infinite One Creator, and really embodying that intelligence and embodying that brilliance and embodying that knowing. So this is a journey through consciousness. You know, as we look at the global stage, what we look at in 2015, the UN, the United Nations, brought out 17 global goals that they wanted to address until the year 2030. And the global goals were all about poverty and clean water and good health and zero hunger and all these things that we're addressing on planet Earth: climate action, life beyond in the water, and peace and justice. And of the 17 global goals, not one of them addresses consciousness, which is the most important goal that we should have personally and globally on this planet at the moment. So what is consciousness? Consciousness is our awareness of who we are as God, or an extension of the Infinite One Creator, or an extension of source energy, and how that brilliance, how that light, how that love flows through us, and how we can paint our world both personally and collectively and move into a new era on planet Earth. So that means we have to be aware of every aspect of ourselves and meet it with love and understanding. So when we meet our negative emotions or our negative belief systems, can we meet it with the connection to our inner being or our higher self or our divinity, and meet this every aspect of ourselves with love and understanding as we meet the world with love and understanding. So as we see the corruption, we see the dirt on planet Earth being revealed because of the light, can we meet it with love and understanding and from a divine point of view, knowing that everything that we're experiencing here in this dimension and in any other dimension is happening for us and for our evolutionary growth, and not to us to traumatize us or to victimize us.
Thank you very much. That's something to bear in mind as we go forward into some exciting and some challenging times. Thank you for taking the time, KAren Swain. It's been a pleasure. A merry everything and a happy always.
A merry everything and a happy always. Big love to you, darling one. Great to see you too.
Bye-bye.